Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Superfed TV. We're going to go ahead and pick up right where we left off last night with our coverage of REL Division 4. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and kick things off with our video. The video never gets old. And once again, thank you to Herringzord for putting that together for the REL teams. Before I get into this matchup, and actually let me go ahead and put the right screen up there. Before I get into the matchup, I do want to just kind of give a plug there. If you are even remotely interested in these Rebel League videos, please make sure you're subscribed to Herringzord's channel. He puts together a lot of stuff. Which is just amazing content. And if you're following his channel, which I'll go ahead and link in the description of this video, but if you're following him, you're going to get all kinds of coverage. He's putting together the playoff video from last season and just good stuff. So make sure you are following him as well. Anyway, let's go ahead and transition into the game that we're going to be covering today. This is going to be a little bit different. It's a mirror match between two Chaos Dwarf teams. However, one of them is going to be clearly favored just from where they're at in their development so far this season. The KNG team is a little bit beaten and battered. They're currently missing one of their Chaos Dwarves, which is going to make their line just a little bit softer and squishier. Whereas the Unaccompanied Minos have a full complement of Chaos Dwarves, but they also have 2 extra Hobgoblins. So they're going to have the numbers advantage in addition to the strength advantage. Well, not strength, but armor and guard even advantage. So there's a lot of things going the Unaccompanied Minos way. The equalizer is going to be the inducements, which the KNG team has picked up Bribe. We'll see if they're able to utilize that. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not super optimistic with Bribe being able to equalize anything. In order to even pull off the Bribe, you've got to be fouling. And in order to foul, you've got to have some kind of positional or numbers advantage. So I'm leery with that decision to go with the Bribe when you're already pretty much outmatched. I think that's a bribe's a good way when you've got more muscle to even things out, but Chaos Dwarf on Chaos Dwarf, I just don't see it going that way. Taking a look at the teams and the star players, here's the KNG team. As I mentioned before, they've got a dwarf that's missing this match, and that dwarf had guard, so of all the dwarves, that's one that you missed the most. And then this is their star player. He's got block, he's got break tackle, he's a centaur. That's exactly how you want your centaurs to start. However, the Unaccompanied Minos have their complementary roster with guard, and they've rolled a double on one of the dwarves to get claw, which is great. And here's their star player. Not only does he have block, but he's got dodge. A blodge centaur right out the gate. That's going to be nice. He doesn't have break tackle yet, so you can mark him and force him into making really bad dodges. I would probably not even attempt that dodge if I was playing on Unaccompanied Minos. So that is going to be maybe one thing that KNG can exploit to at least get some kind of an advantage. Not having that break tackle really is tough for the Centaurs to work around, but we'll go ahead and start the match here and see how this plays out. I'm excited this season, especially because of the new teams. We've got Chaos Dwarves, we've got Khemri. Was there a third team? Yeah, I think Chaos Dwarves and Khemri are the two new teams that are available this season. And this division that we're covering has both. Iron Maiden is going to be the Khemri team, which we might cover next week, if not next week, the week after. Gengar is a renowned coach throughout the leagues. He's come over from the European division, G-Man, in order to play in the REL American League. And he's got a reputation, so I look forward to covering his match as well. But the Chaos Dwarves are a team that I particularly enjoy. They're strong out of the box. They've got a lot of skills to start. And they've got some unique pieces in the Hobgoblins, which are their quote-unquote linemen. Their fodder, their journeymen, which are 3-3-7 with decent movement. And then you've got these centaurs, which are arguably some of the best pieces in the game at 4 strength and 2 agility, but with their high movement, you can get break tackle on them, and they just potentially can become an awesome ball carrier, or you can just use them as blitzing pieces and completely run over everything. And that's not to mention the actual Chaos Dwarves themselves, which are just like regular dwarves, but they've got mutation access. So you can get things like foul appearance, disturbing presence, or what you more often than not are going to see, claw. Claw Palm is disgusting, and it destroys teams, and having Chaos Dwarves with that ability is insane. So, in the actual match itself, KNG have elected to receive first, and they've got a high kick, so they can go ahead and catch the ball right off the bat. That's so helpful for a Centaur. That was a 5+ catch, and he made it. So now he doesn't have to worry about picking up the ball. Now they're going to try and get some knockdowns here, and so far are being very unsuccessful. They definitely want to foul this turn, since they've got that bribe. But they've got to knock somebody over if they want to foul them. And they're just not having luck with that. There we go. There's a knockdown. That's probably going to get fouled. Unless there's a better foul here, but I'm not seeing one on the table. Curious where this blitz goes. I probably would have actually blitzed one of the hobgoblins there. But an armor break onto a dwarf is good. And he moves his centaur back rather than kind of ganging up on this foul. I don't fault him for that. You want to try and limit the hits to your centaurs. They are your star players. Although, he didn't really move them that far back, so if the unaccompanied Minos want to hit that centaur, they're going to be able to. And he's not fouling. Ooh, I'm really, really disliking that choice there. If you have the bribe, you've got to use it, and if you elect to receive first, you're trying to get that damage done. It wouldn't have been a great foul. I guess maybe that's why he didn't do it. Because this dwarf is not marked. And so he would have been subtracting one of these assists. And they are AV9, so it's tough to foul them, but we'll see. I mean, if you get the bribe, who are you trying to foul? I assume that you're trying to foul this guard piece and maybe something. Okay. Hold that thought. We're apparently making a dodge with these dwarfs. I guess without blitzing. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I guess he blitzed over here. That's right. I guess that's fine. I don't know. I wouldn't have made that dodge. There's a blitz onto the hobgoblin, and I think every turn that you've got an opportunity to blitz these hobgoblins, you should be trying to. With AV7, they're going to be the easiest piece on the field to remove, and since Unaccompanied Minos has a bench of 2 extra hobgoblins, it's going to take a while for you to really clear them out. But if you can get a numbers advantage, that will allow you to stall out and win this half at the very least, even though you know that as soon as you score or at the end of the half, they're going to be back up to full strength. And since this wall was set up by Unaccompanied Minos, basically challenging the KNG team to come forward, they've elected to go right. And dwarves are not very fast. These movement 4 dwarves on the left side of the pitch are going to take 2 full turns just to move over to the play. And now they're marking up, actually, with this guard piece involved. Try and keep these ones tagged here. But the problem is you're committing 4... Really, you've got 4 or 5 pieces over here against the 3 of KNG. So if KNG can punch through, which that block and push is going to actually make that a lot harder to do, but if they can push through on this side, they'll have the edge, and these dwarves will be playing catch up and chasing the whole time. Chaos dwarves really shine as a team, I would argue, against more inexperienced coaches. Teams with lower movement value, I think, just tend to excel against at a lower skill tier. But at a higher skill tier, coaches really understand how to capitalize on movement. And wow, that's a little greedy after your sure feet gives up, but not punished. And he's trying to make his move up the sideline. A little bit of a sideline cage here, but this is kind of risky. It feels exposed. He's going to need a blitz, this hobgoblin, I think. He is taking advantage of the fact that there are no centaurs with break tackle on the unaccompanied Minos team. If he had break tackle, there's a decent chance that he tries to make this blitz here. Yeah, I mean, he does the GFI just to really make it safer. Sideline cages are something that I've just never been a fan of. That's why I don't like Skaven very much, because they're just all about that sideline cage. But look at this. So because he got around them, like I was saying, it's going to be extremely hard for unaccompanied Minos to kind of cut this off. And block certainly isn't going to do it. Rerolls into a push. I definitely approve of that reroll. Not that he needs my approval. And these dwarves here are completely out of play. So they're just going to go ahead and punch what they can. And then move their tiny little legs to try and get into the play. This guard piece, a bearded Kylo. I'm going to assume Kylo. A bearded Kylo, like Kylo Ren. This piece is going to be probably the most important dwarf on the pitch. Maybe... No. Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the most important piece on the pitch, I would say, as far as the dwarves go. Centaurs are a little more important. But where this piece goes, unaccompanied Minos are going to be completely in control. But when he's out of the play, or on his ass, as may be happening here. Nope, he's going for this one. Reroll that. Wow, look at all those skulls. Oh, geez. Turnover. Ball dropped. Double 1 and 9 hurts. But that's why you don't blitz with your ball carrier. He could have positioned that differently and had Ryu Sen be the one to do that blitz. So, I'm not a big fan of that choice to blitz with the ball carrier. A very lucky catch, 6+ catch by Flaming Gnome. And again with the dub skulls, but this is not quite a surf. He's not in the right position for it, but he's going to be happy to do that. Just blitz and then run it off. And now, this area that was not in play is very much in play with Flaming Gnome and great position. And really the centaurs that you would need to bring him down are so far blocked off and screened off by these couple pieces here that I honestly don't see how KNG is going to be able to shut this down. Mighty Blow does a thing. Gets a stun there. But here we are, we're turn 5, and we still haven't seen a single foul, which is, again, my biggest criticism of this bribe. If you're going to try and get this bribe as an equalizer, you need to use it. Great blitz onto the Hobgoblin, and there's a removal. Looks innocent too. Gets removed from the pitch with a knockout. You really need to stand up your hobo here. I'm not sure what's taking so long to stand up these pieces. Seki also should have been stood up earlier. And you could have moved high REL before you ran with your Ryutsen. So it's going to be an example of your turn order prioritization. If you kept this one down, I would have been happy with you dodging him out and trying to get a better position, but we're going to see another blitz and run from the ball carrier. This time not getting as far, although he's got those GFIs. Oof. Sure feet. Doing a thing. And that's a death, folks. Let's see if it's Appo. No, it's not. Yeah, and I don't blame him for not Appoing that. That is one dead Hobgoblin. And the dodge fails, and that is the end of their turn. Let us see if he even attempts anything here. No, he does not. So he just stands up the Centaur. With break tackle, I would have really liked him to at least have moved a little bit closer to the ball, but he's pretty much given up on stopping this drive, I would think. And that hurts because really Det Monkey and Unaccompanied Minos are going to be able to... Oh, nice. Actually, I take that back. Wow. He gets the one dice tackle after the dodge from the dwarf. And he's not in that bad of a position, but again, I wish he would have used his break tackle here to move his Centaur into a better spot. This Centaur, on the other hand, is not helping the team out. His lack of block has punished him twice now. And they're all out of rerolls, so this may be a scoreless half, depending on what happens with these blitzes and the actions of Filet Mignon. Just a push. It's removed the threat from the ball carrier, but there's no one that can really pick it up this turn. Unaccompanied Minos doesn't even really have to score here. All they have to do is just keep the ball on this side of the pitch, and they'll be in a great position for the second half. Block on block. All right, KNG, where are we going? What are we doing? Blitz onto the Chaos Dwarf here. I like this. It's going to give you a chance to get a 2-die push onto the Centaur. You get the POW. Excellent. I like the choice to not scatter the ball. That's also smart. You're not going to be able to score, obviously, at this point. So the worst thing that you can do is scatter the ball away and let him dodge and get it. Finally, we try the break tackle dodge, and it doesn't work. Ugh. Luckily, the injury is nothing serious, and the Apothecary is able to recover the Centaur, keep him on the pitch. That is a really big deal, and that's why he did not use it to save this Hobgoblin with no skills. And I'm glad he did not, because had that Bull Centaur gone out for the rest of the match, it would have been even more in favor of the Unaccompanied Minos. But here you go. This was your offensive drive. You didn't foul, and now you're down your Appo, down on numbers even more, and off to a rough start. Anything could still happen. This is Blood Bowl. You can always roll 6s. Your opponent can always roll 1s. But so far, I would say that the dice have only had minimal impact on this game. Scattering the ball. Nothing too noteworthy here. Unaccompanied Minos do have a chance to score next turn, depending on what these dwarves do and how the dice shake out. Another hobgoblin goes down, though, on a failed block. But because of these 2 benches, even if they don't come back, there's still going to be 11 players on the field for Unaccompanied Minos. Using the hobgoblins to knock this dwarf down to free up Din Yu. Oh, why would we 1-die here? I don't like that at all. Now that becomes a lot easier for Unaccompanied Minos to score. So first they get a 2-die block with this Chaos Dwarf. Now they're going to get a blitz with this for another 2-die block onto this dwarf. And then that's going to free up Flaming Gnome to pick up the ball and potentially score. It's all going to come down to the pickup. But that's entirely because of that 1-die block. He picks up the ball. And we have a touchdown. So at the end of the half there, I would say that there's, a couple good takeaways for KNG that they could do to clean up their game a little bit and potentially turn their season around, especially on standing up the pieces first. I've talked in all the other videos so far about making sure you're doing your turn or your actions in the right order for each turn. The other thing I would say is we went through an entire half without a single foul. If you're going to spend $100,000 in inducement money on a bribe, you damn well better use it. Both knockouts come back, that's going to hurt. Additionally, you don't want to block with the ball carrier if you can help it. That's another turn order kind of thing. Making sure you're using the right piece with the right skills for the right move. You've got a block centaur that you were just using to mark. You could have used the ball carrier centaur to mark and then the block centaur to blitz, and that would have been a lot safer play. On the other side of the ball, Unaccompanied Minos I thought did relatively well there. They got a little bit lucky with the pickup rolls for sure and the catch, but I think maybe they overcommitted a little bit too far to the one side to start, and then it actually ended up working out in their favor. But that is something that you really want to be mindful of with that low movement. You don't want to get stretched to one side of the field or pulled to one side of the field and just unable to get back to the other side in time. I think you dodged a little bit of a bullet there with that misplay. But otherwise, I would say that there's nothing that stands out overall so far that Unaccompanied Minos Dead Monkey could really stand to improve. We'll see how this half goes, though. Marking the centaur here, it looks like they're probably going to be the receiver of a blitz, would be my guess. Here comes that blitz. Sure feet does a thing. And another armor break onto the centaurs. There's a pickup failure. And he chooses not to re-roll that. I actually like the decision not to use a re-roll there. The ball is really relatively safe. Don't like that re-roll. But he pushes the dwarf into one of his own dwarves. Maybe we're actually going to see a foul here. This would be a good time to foul. Looks like we will with that move. But again, before you make that blitz, stand up these pieces. You want them on their feet, not on the ground. This looks like the foul. Wait, what? There we go. I thought he was just moving them, but there was no other good pieces for that. Breaks the armor, but the referee's on his game today. The bribe is accepted at least. But there goes the bribe. $100,000 to get 1 stun. Really would have liked that earlier in the game. But enough about that dead horse. Speaking of dead horses, see if the centaur is going to blitz another turn. I would really like to see Unaccompanied Minos blitz this hobgoblin, which it looks like is not going to happen. Good pickup. I would have moved this one first, but that's fine. He's probably going to leave one of these dwarves here to keep this end closed off. If both these pieces do move up this way, there's actually a way for this centaur to get in and hit the cage. He does do that. So I would not be at all surprised to see Ryu Sen blitzing onto this hobgoblin and then marking the centaur that does not have break tackle. That would be my preferred move here. And that's looking like exactly what we're going to see. There he is. He gets the knockdown onto the hobgoblin. Sure Feet does a thing, but you got to go for that. Yeah. Man, Sure Feet has saved so many GFIs this game. I think that's the 4th time we've seen Sure Feet work. Now, because you did that foul, you've got to get all the way back over here. Unfortunately for you, the foul didn't remove any pieces, but it did, you know, effectively take this dwarf out of play. Hobgoblin on hobgoblin. Oh, he hits the dwarf? He would have had a 2-die if he hit this one. This hobgoblin. I don't like that at all. Mighty Blow does not do a thing. And the guard has been knocked down. And actually, I like this a lot. Pushing the guard piece out of the mess. It's really going to only impact this one player. And he would have probably been able to get a 2-die on him anyway. So another blitz. Push into a move. And he's just trying to cage up again, right in the middle of this. Heading back towards this one dwarf to get him back involved in the play. 2-die into a POW. And now he has a very safe ball carrier. It's going to take a lot of pushing to get into this cage. Oh no, another injury for KNG. Miss next game on the Mighty Blow Dwarf. That's going to be a big bummer because he's already down a dwarf this game. So, Appa used, there's nothing he can do about that. KNG is just not having good luck with his armor rolls. Bull Centaur goes down. These hobgoblins are not really doing too much. Just kind of shutting down this lane. I'd like to see them get a little bit more involved. At this point, oh, I don't like having a Chaos Dwarf safety either. You only got 4 movement. What's the point? You're better off getting your block and your thick skull right in the middle of it. We do see the dodge. We do see the GFIs. A 1-die push is not going to do anything. The block is also not going to do anything. And that's the end of the turn. But yeah, I don't understand this guy as a safety. I would much rather him be right in here, making it harder for them to get 2-die blocks. Thick Skull stops the knockout, but that is yet another AV9 armor break. And when you've seen more armor breaks against centaurs and dwarves than you have against hobgoblins, you know something's just not right. Double Skull re-rolled into a double push. And that's the end of the turn. I gotta say, I really respect Det Monkey's restraint. He doesn't like to throw 1-die blocks. He doesn't throw any red die blocks. I personally would. And if I have a block advantage on somebody that has a little more strength, and I'm in a relatively safe position like this, where you've got 2 pieces marking this one centaur, I would have thrown the red die block there. But I'm greedy, what can I say? Great surf. Oh no! He's out of rerolls. Wow, that's just rough. Unfortunately, KNG's Warlord Zodgrod, he used his rerolls pretty fast this half. And that really cost him the chance to surf that player there and opened up a huge gap right in the middle of the pitch. Both centaurs are on the ground. All the dwarves are now marked. And there's really not a lot that KNG is going to be able to do to stop this again. And so I expect Filet Mignon to get a second touchdown this game, and that's going to allow him to level up too. Hobgoblin on Hobgoblin action. Here's the blitz after the 1-die gets the knockdown. Says, okay, no more surf. Technically, he can actually still get surfed here if KNG wants to commit the blitz to it. You just stand him up, do a 2-die block here, and then your centaur can run around and do that. Gets the POW instead, so no need to surf. Blitz onto a Hobgoblin, I like that. And go ahead and mark the guard piece for a knockdown. A very easy score here with sure feet for Filet Mignon. If they want to score this early, they can. There's no way that KNG is going to score twice in the last 2 turns of the game, so I wouldn't fault him for scoring here. But you also have good field position. You don't have to score. You've had such good luck already taking out the centaur. Why not go again? No armor break this time. And there's a 1-die. But I would say that's a very low risk 1-die. Det Monkey did a very good job of really keeping his, I would say, dice rolling to a minimum, making sure that his blocks were very safe. I'd say, again, this half, there's also very few things that I could really critique on the way Det Monkey played this. 1 agility lost on that Hobgoblin. I'm guessing that Hobgoblin's days are numbered. He is probably going to be fired at the end of this match. And there we go, turn 16 score. Filet Mignon. So there will be a kickoff. 1 turn left on the clock. We're going to see the victory formation here from Unaccompanied Minos. They're going to leave, it looks like, 3 dwarves on the line, and as opposed to the 3 hobgoblins who would be much more likely to be hurt. But there's a small risk here in doing this with these dwarves. If one of them were to get injured or killed, that's actually a significant setback, since you are limited to only 6 of them, and they're not cheap pieces either. So you got to really hope that when you do this victory formation that the dwarves do not get beat up too much in the process. Warboss Zodgrod making the right choice there to block at the angle first, ensuring that he's going to get maximum amount of knockdowns, or at least attempts at knockdowns on these dwarves. And he's also getting a 3-die here too, which is not bad. I would like to see him turn 16 respect foul. No respect fouling here. Nice 4+ pickup, 4+ pass. But he doesn't make the catch. That's disappointing. And I would say that's an overall disappointing match. Jeez, Unaccompanied Minos only had 4 armor breaks, but of those 4 armor breaks, they got 2 injuries and a kill. That's impressive. When 3 of your 4 armor breaks result in injuries like that, that's insane. So some very hot dice from Det Monkey. Blocks, I mean, dead even on successful blocks there. Ball possession, definitely one-sided. KNG just, handed the ball to the Unaccompanied Minos. But block-wise, I mean, they're pretty close to even there. Really just a little bit of difference in the dice and some positional differences, obviously. And I would say that Det Monkey actually really impressed me as a coach overall. I'd say that he's probably my, not maybe favorite for this division. I think it's too early to call that, but definitely the most impressive Chaos Dwarf coach that I've seen in the Rebel League. MVP to the Dead Hobgoblin. That's also pretty brutal for KNG. This is going to be a match that they'd rather probably forget. But the bright side is it's still very early in the season. Anything can still happen. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at the standings and see here how the team is looking overall. So KNG, they drew their first round and they lost that round, so they're definitely not in the top half, but with all the games left to play, there's still plenty of opportunity for them to turn the season around. And in fact, that's the same position, 0-1-1 that a couple teams that ended up in 3rd and 4th place in Division 6. Actually, be 4th and 5th place in Division 6 last time. So there's definitely opportunity there for you to have a top 4 finish. Don't lose hope there. Looking at the other Chaos 14 Unaccompanied Minos, they're 1-1. Based on that performance there, I'm surprised that they're not 1 or 2 wins already. So very, very close division. Only one team has 2 wins, and they actually already have a loss too. So no one is undefeated in 3 games. That is, or I guess not undefeated, because we've got some draws there. So no one has won out yet, at least. But yeah, anyone's up. Anyone can potentially take this playoff spot. I think next week we're going to be covering Iron Man. Let's take a look and see who they played. REL Invasion versus Iron Man. So yeah, this is probably a match that we may cover. If not, we're going to cover them week 4, which would be Lizard beasts. Well, we already covered them too. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll see what we do next. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to be doing the recap video with Trunkhead tonight, so I will also link over to that one. And as I said at the start, make sure that you've subscribed and followed Aaron Zord, who made the awesome intro video that we use for our Rebel casts. Thanks again for watching. Have a good night.